The amount of detail and characterization that goes into fictional houses, especially within Western cartoons, is actually kind of crazy when you really stop and think about it. Like, I get it from an animation perspective. I get that it's probably cheaper to have your characters in the crib all the time as opposed to having them go out to a million different locations that would each require their own separate bout of labor to animate. But I just find it crazy that these fictional homes have been so well documented and so thoroughly explored within their respective series that I, a real life person that exists in the real world, feel like I can navigate a lot of these homes as if they were my own home. Like, that's genuinely a crazy phenomenon when you think about it. But anywho, as I was sitting back the other day pondering about useless shit, like how I could probably navigate the regular show Park House with my eyes closed, one thought led to another, and I began to wonder, what if I could navigate the regular show Park House with my eyes closed? Like, what if I bought the house IRL and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you get the idea. And then I stopped to think about it some more, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to buy that cursed ass, demonic ass, fucking spacefaring ass Park House, because that seems like a lot of stress that I'm not trying to deal with. And so then, with that said, what fictional houses would I buy if presented with the opportunity to buy fictional houses? Before I get into this list, I want to go over the one singular ground rule that I set for myself when compiling this list of 5 fictional houses, because I feel like a lot of y'all are probably going to ask, why isn't X house included? Why isn't Y house included? And I feel like most of these questions can probably be boiled down to or answered with one specific word: the size. Houses like SpongeBob's Pineapple House, Jerry's Little Hole in the Wall, and Kirby's studio apartment from Kirby and the Forgotten Land were all put up for consideration when I was compiling this list. However, all of these houses, and a few other houses fall into this category, but all of these houses are just canonically way too fucking small for me to live in. JK, I'm like 5'6". I can live in a fucking molecule and still have leg room to stretch out. But nah, for real though, I wanted to stay true to size when talking about these houses, just to make this list a bit more selective and to make the overall video a bit more realistic, I guess. At least about as realistic as you can get when, you know, talking about cartoon houses. And so yeah, for the sake of this video, I want to stay within the single family home range in terms of size, right? Like, I'm not going to be picking any Wayne Manor, Scrooge McDuck ass mansions because I have a single turkey meatball to my name. There's no way I'm affording that shit. But by that same vein, I'm also not picking any comically small houses because I don't feel like it. At number 5, and this one's a bit of a sleeper house, okay? This one's a bit of a hear me out. So hear me out. But at number 5, we have the farmhouse from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Hear me out, bruh. Hear me out. See, you may be thinking to yourself that everything about this home is whack. And I'm not gonna lie, from the outside looking in, I could see why you would feel that way. But to you, dear hater, I'd like to raise a question. Is this house really as whack as we all thought it was back in the day? Or is Eustace fat chin ass just ruining the vibes for everyone and simultaneously plummeting the property value of this fine establishment in the process? Because if you remove the Eustace influence from this home, it's really not that bad, bro. But first, let's acknowledge a few of the cons, right? Obviously the location, it can be a bit better, I suppose. Honestly, I don't even think that Nowhere, Kansas is as bad of a town as y'all niggas make it out to be. Like, sure, you gotta deal with the occasional alien invasion or demonic entity or some shit, but I'm not gonna lie, half the weird shit in this town I feel like I can either A, avoid by minding my business, or B, beat the dog shit out of with my bare knuckles. Like, if this weird ass nigga Cats pulls up at my front door, I'm doing his backbone like my name is Bane, and that's finna be the end of it. But anywho, in addition to the spacious 3-story interior and the nice little chill out the way vibe that I fuck with, I also used to really want that sarcastic ass chat GPT ass PC that they keep up in the attic or whatever. And so if the house came with that John too, yeah, man, it's basically a no-brainer at that point. At number 4, we got another crib that is low-key hear me out, but again, bro, you're just gonna have to hear me out on this one. You're just gonna have to let me cook a little bit, as the youth likes to say. The Watterson house in the amazing world of Gumball has almost no redeeming factors, and I'm not even gonna sit here and roleplay like it does. The location, horrible, okay? Let's just keep it a full stack right now. Like, if we're going danger for danger with the real world, Elmore is probably more dangerous than any hood any slum, any war zone that you could possibly think of in IRL. And I'm pretty sure that the entirety of Elmore gets blown the fuck up on like at least 2 occasions. The schools in Elmore, ass. I don't think I've seen a single student actually learn a single piece of information within that school building during all 6 seasons of Gumball's run. And most of the fucking show takes place within the school building, so yeah, I don't know what the fuck that's about. And bro, don't even get me started with like the residents of Elmore and whatnot, because at least if I lived in the middle of nowhere, like in Courage's crib, the weirdos and creeps would just be like relegated to isolated incidents that are somewhat few and far between. In Elmore, literally everybody and their mom is extremely annoying at worst and outright demented at best. And so like, yeah bro, I'm just not trying to deal with all that. I won't even hold you. And so I guess all of these cons beg the question, why on earth would I put the Watterson residence at number 4 on my list? Well, there's 3 reasons actually. Reason number 1, it looks good in the thumbnail. Reason number 2, I'm not a furry, but Nicole Watterson's hips don't lie. Reason number 3, and you know, perhaps the more serious reason for why I decided to put this house on here, is that I've just spent so many hours filling my brain with Gumball episodes over the years that in a weird semi-parasocial sort of way, the Gumball home kind of feels like a second home to me. Believe it or not, I actually used to be able to recite certain Gumball episodes by ooh, I just had a bad memory, bro. I just had a cringe attack. I recited a Gumball episode at my 5th grade talent show. But yeah, all jokes aside, the reason I put the Watterson residence at number 4 is because of Nicole Watterson's. Okay, so for house number 3, we're starting to transition into the houses that I would actually unironically like to live in. Like the first 2 houses we've covered so far have been like half jokes, kinda, but the remainder of the houses that we have on this list, I am genuinely dead ass about wanting to live in them. The Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is house number 3. Now I know that including this house on the list kind of breaks the size rule that I said at the beginning of the list. Maybe it's honestly kind of hard to get a feel for just how big this house may or may not be, because as far as I could tell from my research, the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is an ever-changing void of space that can expand and contract in size based on what Mickey demands at the given moment. But metaphysics aside, I feel like I had to add the old Miska Muska to this list because, okay, this is gonna sound dumb, but growing up, I used to watch the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and get so salty that I never got to actually go to the Clubhouse IRL. I could actually vividly recall sitting there at the TV screen every Saturday morning and watching Mickey summon his fucking Leviathan of a clubhouse from out the ground at the beginning of every episode. Like, it is 8:30 a.m. in the morning, my nigga. What is up with this exorbitant display of wealth on my TV screen right now? Why is Mickey trying to go rack for rack with me, dog? I am 5 years old. But yeah, apart from my unreasonable personal vendetta against the Clubhouse, I also just kind of want to live there because as far as I could tell, the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is absolutely stacked when it comes to amenities. Like when I started making this list, I just had some vague memories about the amount of resources that this Clubhouse had. But now that I've actually gone and done the research and like looked into the amount of shit that Mickey got in his crib, like I said earlier, bro, this shit is utterly exorbitant. According to the Disney fandom page, rooms within the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse include but are not limited to a kitchen, a bathroom, an art studio, a library, a spacesuit changing machine, a pretend doctor's office. I don't know why they had to make this shit pretend. Does the club membership not cover healthcare or some shit? A sports room, a hall of fame, a movie theater, a Tik Tok time machine, the rainbow color machine, and a Moo Mart grocery store. If I lived within the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, I would literally never have to leave the crib because the crib itself has better socialized facilities than the rest of the fucking country. At house number 2, we're starting to move into what can be considered nothing less than elite crib territory. I mean, realistically, these next 2 cribs have to be pretty fucking insane to beat out the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, which we just found out was stacked with a literal in-house time machine. But coming in at house number 2 is Finn and Jake's Treehouse from Adventure Time. Just on its own merits, the Treehouse from Adventure Time is stacked with like 85% of the shit you could possibly ask for within a house. It's out the way, but not too far out the way, which grants you the perfect balance of privacy and community. I'm also pretty sure the crib has got like mad gold in its walls or something, and so realistically, you never have to worry about running out of bread, assuming that said gold comes with the house, which for the sake of this video, we will be saying yes, said gold does come with the house. Imagine copping a house with a pre-installed retirement fund, bro. Also, the vibes of the home in general are just comfy as hell. Like, I don't know, bro, but certain episodes of Adventure Time just have this vibe about them where they're not really doing much besides lounging around the crib. But even then, like, with these episodes lacking action, they make up for in just straight coziness. And in my personal opinion, coziness is probably the #1 factor that should go into choosing a home, bro, even over like time machines and shit. Not over Nicole Waterson's hit. I guess the one problem that would arise from living in this treehouse is all the weird ass neighbors that you have coming to try and ruin your day every now and then. Like, I'm pretty sure I can handle Ice King as long as he's not on no freak shit, but I don't know if I have it in me to deal with that big nasty ass slug that was fucking with them in that one episode. So yeah, I guess I gotta keep that in mind too. And at that, ladies and gentlemen, we finally approached the #1 fictional house that I would most definitely live in if I had the means to do so. This last house, you know what, bro, enough yap. This house really needs no introduction. It's the Kame house. There were a couple Dragon Ball houses that I considered putting on this list, right? Goku's crib is pretty cool. Nigga got a radish farm and shit. King Kai ass got a whole goddamn planet to himself. That goes pretty hard, I'm not gonna lie. But when it really came down to it, I knew from the moment that I conceptualized this video idea that I had no choice but to put the Kame house at #1. And that's simply the undeniable truth of the matter. The Kame house is like a Zenkai boosted amalgamation of all the things that make the other houses on this list great. You got the privacy of the Courage Ranch, the iconic single family aesthetic of the Gumball house, the high-tech nature of the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, the vibes and coziness of the Adventure Time Treehouse, all squashed together within this adorable pink little loft house that is honestly transcended beyond just Dragon Ball at this point. Like, I feel like the Kame house has evolved into a pop culture icon in and of itself just simply by being the embodiment of chill vibes. Honestly, bruh, just like not much of an introduction was needed for this house, not much of an explanation is needed either. And so coming in hot at the #1 spot on the list of fictional places that I would live in if I had the money